The National Forest Policy of 1988 and Government of India's Guideline of June 1990 emphasized the need for people's participation in natural forest management. Thus, on the 16th March 1992, the Government of Maharashtra issued Government Reservation on Joint Forest Management, with the objective of mobilizing participation for forest-dependent communities in protection and development of forests, and also generation of rural income and improving equity through benefit-sharing mechanism. To promote participatory forest program, it is important to understand community-forest relationship, consult local people about community forest issues, encourage collaboration between forest users and the government, and empower local people with the rights to use and manage forest produce in a manner consistent with local interest and the objectives of the community conservation program. Two types of information are needed to implement participatory forest management program. These are physical resource information and social information. Physical resource information includes things such as location, area and condition of forests, shrublands and grasslands. Social information includes things such as nature of rural communities and forest users, their interests, needs and preferences, and the existing arrangements for using and protecting forests. Some of the key information necessary for profiling of community forest relationship are background information such as population census, livestock ownership, land ownership, religious and caste composition, community and forest history such as historical transect, timeline, trend line, community forest values and perceptions such as perceived ecological benefits, social and religious significance, perceived economic value of products in cash and kind, spatial information such as sketch map, product flow chart, land use transect, temporal information such as seasonal calendar, daily activity schedule, inventory and classifying such as species inventory, gender specific inventory, species use typology, and forest product ranking and scoring such as product importance scoring table and comparative product ranking. Two approaches to consolidate necessary information for participatory forest management are rapid rural appraisal and participatory rural appraisal. Rapid rural appraisal involves field workers learning rapidly and directly from local people by tapping local knowledge and gaining information and insight from local people. Field workers decide what information is to be collected, how and when. RRA tools do not require local people to develop a sense of ownership for collecting or analyzing the information. Field workers use participatory rural appraisal tools to learn with local people and to share knowledge and experience. PRA emphasizes empowerment of and equity among the local people. PRA involves field workers in facilitating local capacity to analyze, plan and take action according to the local agenda. PRA and RRA tools. Field workers must build trust with a wide cross-section of local people to work effectively. Building rapport with rural women is particularly important. They are often the most frequent and important use of forest and forest products. It is important to cross-check and verify all information from multiple sources and not just rely on a single source. Some people like village elders, local leaders or school teachers are knowledgeable about forests and local needs and interests. The objective of using key informants is to gain useful insights into issues in a short period of time. People who share particular sets of interests make up an interest group. It can be determined by differences in age, gender, ethnic group, wealth or status, or religious belief. Working with interest groups gives useful insights into their distinct needs, interests, and problems. Such information is essential when negotiating the collaborative management of a forest with forest users, particularly when promoting the rights of less powerful groups. Direct observation is important to fill in gaps in knowledge of local conditions. Observation can be made opportunistically as field workers travel around their area, or they can be made deliberately, observing specific situations firsthand. The objectives of direct observation are to make qualitative and quantitative appraisals of relevant physical and social conditions and to cross-check information that has been collected using other tools. Semi-structured interviews with key informants and interest groups engage local people in conversations, and a great deal of valuable information can be obtained about their situation and the things that interest them. Semi-structured walks in combination with semi-structured interviews and direct observations can be used to stimulate, challenge and focus interviews, giving rise to exchanges of information that might have not occurred otherwise. Secondary sources of information include maps and other national records like census data, MIS data, gazetteers, topo sheets, etc. For PRA, maps are usually prepared by local people with field workers acting as facilitators. Participatory map may be first drawn on the ground or a large sheet of paper and then transferred into a field book or sketchpad. A participatory map can be used to record location of administrative boundaries, type and location of farmlands, location and names of facilities such as schools and water sources, names and condition of forests used by the local people, and location and number of households in a village and the type of people that live there. Ranking is a useful tool to inquire into the nature of local preferences and to set priorities for forest management or other activities. Ranking exercises can be undertaken with individuals as well as interest groups. Techniques like matrix tables, pie charts, Venn diagrams, and graphs can be used as per convenience of the participants for ranking. Ranking exercises on the basis of gender help determine different preferences between men and women. Here are a few examples of information collected through PRA. This is the population census of the village. Here is a graph depicting the livestock ownership. Through this pie diagram and map, the informants depict the land ownership of the village. They have marked that most of the land is owned by the upper caste privileged section. The type and number of water sources in the village is also an important background information shown in this chart. This is an example of historical timeline of the village. This is historical transect that shows how the forest has changed over time. In this chart, the villagers have listed the perceived benefits of the forest. Here is a depiction of the nature of forest area and its socio-religious significance, whereby we see restricted forest use in sacred forests, protection through JFM in plantation areas, and unrestricted use of open forest. This is a list of economic value of various forest products. Here is a pie chart depicting the income sources of the villagers, where almost half the population depends on agriculture, 1/4 work as mine laborers, 1/6 are dependent on agriculture, labor and forest, and a very small population is into jobs and other business. In this chart, the villagers have ranked the availability and quality of basic forest resources. This chart depicts the average mobility of women of the village. We see that they walk up to 6 kilometers to collect the firewood. When compared to this men's mobility chart, we can clearly see the difference in priorities. This is the seasonal calendar of forest and agriculture produce, where we can see April, May, June as the peak forest product season. This is the daily activity schedule of most of the women in the village. Here in this table, the villagers have ranked various tree species with respect to its utility, say timber, fodder, fuel wood, medicine, etc. All the information collected through participatory rural appraisal for joint forest management should help assess the present condition of the forest, its vegetative characteristics, species composition, stocking level, quantum of disturbance in forest area such as fire, grazing, logging or fuel wood cutting, social characteristics of the village, if community is active in forest management, community homogeneity, leadership within community, access rules and regulations, environmental concerns, socio-religious importance of forest, and perceived resource scarcity.